What were some of your other sessions like, say, with the Beach Boys or Joe Cocker?
Okay, now the Beach Boys, I played guitar on their early records, and
like Help Me Rhonda type stuff.
Oh no, that's bass. That's my first bass record. Was Help Me Rhonda. That's the first record I did with them on bass, and it's like physically, and I kept the strings real high in those days. I mean, the bass was a real physical instrument. I kept it real high, and I used the Fender P bass with the Super Reverb amp, and they always mic'd me. They always mic'd me. Never took it through the board. I got a pretty good sound. Even on some of the Motown dates, like Love Child and Bernadette, I played bass on. I added more bottom, but they mic'd me on that stuff too. And but the Beach Boys, it took a lot of takes too. It seemed like Phil Spector kind of like set the standard. It was okay to go 6 hours on one tune, which we did. And they used all studio guys except for Carl. Carl would be in the booth on 12-string. Like mostly 12-string he played. And he'd sit and play with us, but he'd be in the booth, and then the rest of us, it'd be Lyle Ritz played acoustic bass. There was an acoustic bass on there too. But it was more like, I don't know, you couldn't hear the acoustic bass except you can hear it. I mean, like on Good Vibrations, for a while there's two parts there. Like I played the higher part. Dee 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 dee.
Did you come up with that line?
No, that's Brian's stuff. Now Brian wrote all of his lines. Once in a while I played a fill or something, that was mine. But I can't lay claim to any of Brian's bass lines. But the feel, if you listen to Good Vibrations, that feel is a jazz feel. It's a walking feel. That's pure jazz, and Brian was greatly influenced by jazz. He was influenced by the Four Freshmen, the way they sung. And Barney Kessel and Howard Roberts and I were constantly on those days, and we were constantly being amazed by Brian because he's the one that arranged it all, and he came up with all the ideas and everything. We met the other Beach Boys. They were really nice and all that. But it was Brian's talent, really, that really did all that stuff. And I played on the Pet Sounds album. I played bass on except one tune. There's one tune on the Pet Sounds album. In fact, that's George Harrison's favorite album. It's the Pet Sounds album. A lot of people like that album. It's a very creative album.
Now, why were you playing on their records? And then would you teach them the parts, or?
No, it's just that they copied what we did. Like they copied the feel and they copied the parts that we came up with. But it was Brian that wrote the parts. I mean, he didn't physically really write them very well. He put stems on the wrong side of the notes and like that. We'd have to recopy it in another key and that kind of stuff. We spent time doing that too. In other words, the music really wasn't legally very good. Like we had to sit down and rewrite it, but it came from his head, and the parts were fairly simple, so they could go out on the road and cut them. They couldn't get that real old studio feel that we got because I was in the clique that was playing on all the hit records. I mean, that's all we did was cut a hit from 8 a.m. in the morning till 12 midnight every day of the week.